Welcome back to Eskimos. Today, we are diving deep into the intricate world of our minds and exploring a topic that very few of us escape: mental traps. These cognitive distortions can often be the invisible chains that limit our potential and skew our reality. They whisper doubts in our ears, lead us down paths of self-sabotage, and keep us from embracing our most authentic selves. But here's the good news. Recognizing these traps is the first step to dismantling their power. We're going to shine a light on these shadowy corners of our minds and discover how to break free from their grip. We're talking about practical strategies, honest self-reflection, and the courage to choose vulnerability over fear. So, sit back, relax, and let's uncover 14 mental traps that may be controlling your life and how you can break free from them. It's time to step into the light of self-awareness and unlock a life of greater purpose, joy, and connection. Let's talk about double standards, those sneaky little traps we set for ourselves. We judge ourselves far more harshly than we would ever judge a friend. Imagine a dear friend making a mistake. You offer compassion and remind them everyone makes mistakes. But do we offer ourselves the same grace? Often we unleash that inner critic. One set of rules for the world, another for ourselves. This is the double standard trap. It keeps us stuck in self-criticism. Break free with awareness. Challenge that inner critic. Remember, you deserve your own kindness. Have you ever found yourself in an argument where the need to be right overshadowed everything else? It's like a switch flips in our minds, and suddenly, it's about proving our point at all costs. But winning an argument doesn't mean we've grown or learned anything. It often comes at a cost: damaged relationships and unnecessary stress. Shift from winning to understanding. Choose curiosity over judgment. Listen to understand, not just to respond. Embrace the opportunity to learn and grow together. We live in a world obsessed with comparison. Social media feeds us a constant stream of carefully curated highlight reels, making it all too easy to fall into the trap of comparing our lives to others. We see their successes, their picture-perfect moments, and we start to question our own worth. But here's the thing, comparison is a dangerous game, one that we can never truly win. We're comparing our behind-the-scenes struggles with someone else's carefully crafted facade. The truth is, everyone's journey is unique. When we get caught up in comparing ourselves to others, we lose sight of our own unique path and all the amazing things that make us who we are. So, how do we break free from the comparison trap? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to those triggers that send you down the rabbit hole of comparison. Remember, your worth is not determined by what others are doing or achieving. Chapter 4. The in-group bias. We are social creatures, hardwired for connection and belonging. It's in our DNA to seek out like-minded individuals and form bonds. But this can lead to an us versus them mentality, creating in-group bias. In-group bias favors those we see as part of our group. This bias can limit our perspectives and lead to prejudice. Engage with people from different backgrounds. Embrace the richness that diversity brings. Chapter 5. The Over-Generalization Trap. Our minds are wired to seek out patterns, but this can lead us to overgeneralize from a single experience. Imagine you go on a couple of bad dates. You might think all dating apps are a waste of time. This is the overgeneralization trap. It distorts our perception of reality. So, how do we break free? Recognize that a single event does not define the entire experience. Challenge those sweeping statements. The Bandwagon Effect. We all crave acceptance. We want to fit in, to be part of something larger than ourselves. This desire for belonging can lead us to adopt behaviors just because everyone else is doing it. Think about trends, fads, or even social movements. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and fear of missing out. But just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for us. Resist the pull by questioning the status quo and having the courage to chart your own course. Our memories are not always reliable narrators. We tend to view the past through rose-colored glasses, remembering the good times with more vivid detail while downplaying or even forgetting the bad. This tendency, known as Rosy retrospection, can distort our perception of reality and influence our present-day decisions. We might romanticize a past relationship, forgetting the challenges that led to its demise. Or we might look back on a job we left with nostalgia, overlooking the aspects that made us unhappy. While it's natural to cherish fond memories, it's important to remember that the past is not always as rosy as we remember it. When we cling to an idealized version of the past, we risk repeating the same mistakes, making decisions based on sentimentality rather than logic, and missing out on opportunities for growth and change in the present. So how do we break free from the rosy retrospection trap? It starts with practicing honest self-reflection. When reflecting on the past, try to view it from a more objective perspective. It's easy to think of our future selves as separate entities. We say things like, my future self will be more disciplined, or my future self will finally write that book. But here's the thing. Your future self is not some stranger you'll meet someday down the road. Your future self is built on the choices you make and the actions you take today. When we disconnect from our future selves, we make choices that sabotage our long-term well-being. We procrastinate on important goals. We engage in unhealthy habits. So how do we bridge the gap between our present and future selves? It starts with recognizing that every decision we make, no matter how small, has an impact on the person we will become. Start by setting small, achievable goals that align with your long-term aspirations. Remember, your future self is counting on you. Have you ever noticed how safety measures, while designed to protect us, can sometimes lead to riskier behavior? Think about it. Seatbelts, while essential for safety, can sometimes give drivers a false sense of security, leading them to drive more recklessly. This counterintuitive phenomenon is known as the Peltzman Effect, and it highlights the delicate balance between safety measures and our perception of risk. When we become overly reliant on safety nets, we may unconsciously adjust our behavior, taking on more risk than we would otherwise. It's like our brains try to maintain a certain level of perceived risk, even if it means engaging in riskier behavior. The Peltzman Effect reminds us that safety measures are not a substitute for sound judgment and responsible behavior. So how do we navigate this delicate balance? It's about being aware of the Peltzman Effect and its potential influence on our behavior. And it's about cultivating a healthy respect for our own limitations and making conscious choices that align with our values and goals. Chapter 10. The Positive Expectations Trap. It's wonderful to approach life with a positive outlook, to believe in the power of possibility. But when positive expectations morph into unrealistic expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment, frustration, and even resentment. When we expect everything to go our way, we fail to prepare for the inevitable bumps in the road. The key is to find that sweet spot between optimism and realism. It's about believing in our ability to create positive change while also acknowledging that setbacks and challenges are a natural part of the journey. So how do we escape the positive expectations trap? It starts with embracing a growth mindset, understanding that setbacks are opportunities for learning and growth, not signs of failure. And it's about approaching life with a spirit of resilience, knowing that we have the strength and resourcefulness to navigate whatever challenges come our way. Chapter 11. The Catchy Marketing Trap. We live in a world saturated with advertising. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we are bombarded with messages. Marketing can manipulate our desires and exploit our insecurities. Think about those catchy jingles and celebrity endorsements. They make us believe we need that product to be happy. So how do we navigate marketing without falling prey? Cultivate skepticism, question everything, do your own research. Our brains have a negativity bias. We are wired to pay more attention to negative information than positive information. This bias served us well in our evolutionary past, helping us to avoid danger and survive. But in today's world, this negativity bias can lead us down a rabbit hole of anxiety, fear, and despair. Think about it. We are constantly bombarded with news stories about crime, violence, natural disasters, and political turmoil. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and start to believe that the world is a scary, dangerous place. But here's the thing. The news does not present an accurate reflection of reality. For every negative news story, there are countless acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion happening every day that never make the headlines. So how do we break free from the bad news bias trap? It starts with being mindful of our media consumption, and most importantly, make a conscious effort to focus on the good in the world. Ever notice how you value things more if you've put your own effort into them? That's the IKEA effect. We value things we've built ourselves, even if they're not better. Think about that wonky bookshelf you put together, or that lopsided cake you baked. You're more attached to them than to perfect items. It's important to be aware of this bias. We might cling to projects or relationships too long. Find balance between appreciating efforts and letting go. Deep down, most of us like to believe we're above average. We're smarter, funnier, more talented than the average bear. This belief, known as illusory superiority, can be a powerful motivator, but it can also lead us down a path of arrogance, overconfidence, and ultimately, disappointment. When we overestimate our abilities, we set ourselves up for failure. We take on more than we can handle. We underestimate the challenges ahead. And when things don't go our way, we're more likely to blame external factors rather than taking responsibility for our own shortcomings. So, how do we break free from the superiority complex trap? It starts with cultivating humility. It's about recognizing that we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and that's perfectly okay. And it's about approaching life with a spirit of continuous learning, always striving to improve and grow. Ladies and gentlemen, recognizing these mental traps is the first step towards a more balanced and self-aware existence. Just being aware of these traps, these patterns of thinking that can hold us back, empowers us to make different choices, to show up in the world with more intention and authenticity. By challenging these unhealthy mindsets, we open doors to personal growth, to deeper connections, and to a life that is more aligned with our values and aspirations. Remember, the mind is a powerful place. It can be our greatest ally or our fiercest critic, but ultimately, we are in control. We have the power to choose our thoughts, to challenge our limiting beliefs, and to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Thank you for joining us today here on Escamas. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that helps you in your journey to personal development. Until next time, stay mindful and stay curious.